What up? What up? What up? It's Rec League Podcast, man. Episode number 81. My name is Randy Little if you're new to this. 81 episodes. I'm hoping the majority of you been around. We talking and celebrating all things Batman on this episode. We got the regulars, Nick, Eric, Melissa, and the homie Hector comes through. And for the first hour, we talk legacy movies, Burton, Schumacher, animation, Nolan, Snyder. We don't get to all of it, but we're talking Batman legacy movies. Melissa takes off in the second half, and this is everybody's warning. If you don't listen to my intro, then you're doing yourself a disservice. The second half of the discussion is spoilers, is the Batman spoilers. So if you haven't seen the Batman, when Melissa's gone, that's your cue to go see the Batman, come back and finish listening or watching. Yeah, man, it's fun. Batman is my favorite superhero, so I mean there was no other choice this episode than to talk Batman. Recently in the theater, after the last episode, February 25th, nothing came out. Just nothing came out. That's just how it is. And then this past weekend, obviously, the Batman came out. Upcoming, in between this episode and the next, Turning Red comes out on Disney+. The Adam Project comes out on Netflix. That might actually be in select theaters for like some Q&A stuff I've seen advertised. I'm not positive. And then the 18th of March, I know, what's it called? Deep Water with Ben Affleck and Ana de Armas. Adrian Lin directed, is on Hulu. And that new Guy Ritchie movie, something de Fortune, like it's got rules in the title. It sounds really French. That might come out. I'm seeing no advertisements for it, and I think it got moved and just hasn't announced a new date. So on to the physical media. The Tuesday after the most recent episode, it looks like The Kingsman came out, House of Gucci came out, Shout Factory put out Jim Carrey's Man on the Moon, American Underdog came out, The 355 came out after only like 7 weeks in the theater. That's such a fast turnaround. Let's go on to the next Tuesday. This past Tuesday, all I bought this past Tuesday was the Batman animated series. It looks like Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Got a Blu-ray that I might buy down the road. And then this upcoming Tuesday, The Matrix Resurrections comes out. Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, the complete series gets a Blu-ray. The final season of Supergirl gets a Blu-ray. Coming to America, that came out on Amazon last year, is getting a Blu-ray on physical. Looks like Yellowstone Season 4 is coming out. The Walking Dead World Beyond Season 2 is coming out. National Champions, A Journal for Jordan. This is an expensive Tuesday. Courageous 10th Anniversary, Redeeming Love. And then the 15th of March, West Side Story comes out. I don't know what the hell The Accused is. Oh, that's a Jodie Foster movie. Looks like Red Rocket is coming out with Buddy from Scary Movie 3. Simon Rex, before y'all say I didn't know his name. Flipper is getting a Blu-ray, if that's not an upgrade. That looks to be about it. So just some upgrades. Yeah, man. I'm gonna come back. We gonna be 5 deep out here, and we gonna talk Batman, man. It's really fun. Rec League. Hey, we back, children. very specific directions for this Batman episode of the podcast. Melissa has not seen the Batman. So the first half, we're going to talk legacy movies. 66, Tim Burton, Schumacher, Nolan, Snyder. When we break and I save, we're going to talk the Batman in-depth spoilers. And she'll be done with the episode. Yeah. Canadian peace out.
Yeah.
And those of us that have seen the Batman are going to spoil it for everybody else still listening that didn't take off with her. So, how do I start this? Whose favorite...
I might have to take off, like, maybe, I'm not sure, like, not soon, obviously, but at some point, I got somewhere to be at like, see, 11, like, yeah, within like a couple hours. Yeah.
I think we'll be done by then.
Yeah, just letting you know.
Cool.
Like, it ain't a big deal.
Okay. Is anybody's favorite Batman movie not The Dark Knight?
Sorry.
What is it? I mean, it's not a crime.
I like 1989. Michael Keaton, the best.
Cool. Talk about it.
Okay. Yeah. So I only had faint memories of it growing up, and Batman Returns as well. And then I would say it was 2010-ish. I decided to rewatch Batman 1989, starring Michael Keaton and Kim Basinger and Jack Nicholson, and I was kind of blown away. As an adult, I can appreciate it much better, and I just love. The biggest thing I love is the aesthetic, how it's all Art Deco. I kind of looked up, when does this movie take place? And it's weird. It's like, it's supposed to have the style of the 40s, but it takes place in 89 kind of, and there's all this Prince music. And, it's all these different influences mixed together. Gotham is so beautiful. Obviously there's 80s fashion. There's stuff that Kim Basinger wears sometimes is like so off the wall. Like she shows up to Wayne Manor wearing like a wedding dress practically. The fashion is so 80s and so ridiculous, but I love everything she wears. I love her whole reporter style. She's so beautiful. I love her. I wish they brought her back for the second movie. I don't know what happened there, but I just adore her, and I love Michael Keaton. I love Michael Keaton and Kim Basinger together as well. I actually love the romance in the movie. And I just like Michael Keaton. His little nuances of acting, the little ways he delivers his lines. I'm really captivated by him, and it made me watch his other movies because I became such a fan. So I really like that first one, and most of you guys know me. I'm a total baby when it comes to violence. The Dark Knight is just really hard for me, but obviously the first one is not. That's my level. Like that's my level of violence. I don't even know if there's any violence, but like, yeah, that I'm good with that. So that it's a lot easier for me, and I love the look of it, and I love the cast. I love the music. I love the style. So good for Tim Burton. I love that movie.
Yeah, for sure. I think one thing Tim Burton did in both his movies was make Gotham City like feel like it's own character, better than any other director's done.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Nick, talk about your favorite Batman movie.
Well, it's like, is everyone else's favorite The Dark Knight?
Yeah, mine is.
Basically.
That's just like, it's hard. Like, when I did my ranking list of, like, the best Batmans, I realized, like, the top 10, what have there been, like, maybe, like, 14 or something like that? I don't know. The top 10 are all, like, really, really, really good movies. Like, everybody trashes, like, the shitty Batman movies, but there's really only, like, 2 or 3 shitty Batman movies. Like, if you include the theatrical Justice League and, like, if you include Batman Forever. There's really only, like, a few that aren't great.
Yeah.
But, like, putting the new one in my rank, it was, like, 5th or 6th or something. Like, I was like, really? Is that low? But then I'm, like, putting all the other ones above it. And I'm like, well, yeah. Like, the Tim Burton movies are, like, it's like, I don't know. It's just such a part of my life. Like, it's not even...
I'm sorry, yeah. I didn't even mention Jack Nicholson, and now I feel bad. But you guys know, like...
But it's not even like saying like I grew up on that. Like it was like they were like a part of my life. Like I would just sit and spend my whole days like I could recite the 1989 movie. Like when I put it in, like every time like what's his name, Eckhart is talking to Jack Nicholson like in the alley, and I could just do the whole thing. I'm like, you better be sure.
Do you think he thought about the future?
Yeah, probably not. But I don't know. The Dark Knight, it's just, I mean, like I could make a case for almost all of the movies. Like anybody saying like the new one is their favorite, I'm like, well, you're not wrong. It's pretty great.
Yeah.
Dark Knight was just, I feel like people forget. I feel like superhero movies as a whole, like we exist in the post Dark Knight era, like at all times. People forget, like, with a few like notable exceptions, before the Dark Knight, it was still pretty common that like comic book movies suck. Like it was like Ghost Rider, like this is gonna suck. Like this isn't gonna be great, but like I'll go see it because why not? Like Fantastic Four, like okay, yeehaw, I'll go. Like why not? It's not going to be good. And, like, they weren't. They were, like, 3s out of 5s at best.
My man said, yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
Right when you took a drink.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
But it's true. Like, it was like, what are the odds that there would be 3 great X-Men movies? Like, not great. Like, and there weren't. Like, there were 2. And then the third one, it was like, well, yeah, they had to drop the ball eventually. So, like, The Dark Knight came out with, like, the best movie like ever, like really, like I'm not even like exaggerating. Like I remember being in the theater, like, what in the hell? Like it's just so.
I saw that shit twice opening day.
Yeah,
you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it. That was the first movie I ever saw 3 times in a theater, and it was literally because like I went to go see and I was like, dude, you have to go see this movie. It's the best movie I've ever seen. They're like, Batman, really? And I'm like, no, I promise you. And then I was always right. Like they would go see it and they were like, wow. It just wasn't normal. Now there still aren't movies that good, but now it's like expected when a movie comes out, no matter what it is. It's like an Ant-Man movie, it better be good. And like usually like there's like a higher expectation now. And I blame The Dark Knight for that. It's just so good.
Yeah, I was reading up on this, Nick, because, I want to understand why everyone loves this movie to death. So it's crazy. Batman Begins didn't even make that much money in comparison. And then when The Dark Knight came out, obviously it made $1 billion. It's crazy. Yeah. It really just changed things so drastically. And I was reading about the legacy of the movie. It's ridiculous what it did.
Man,
yeah, I remember like
Nolan.
I love Batman Begins. But I remember thinking, like, it was like 3 years later, and there was like a feeling like, oh, this is the sequel to Batman Begins. Like, there was like a feeling like, oh, they're doing another one with, oh, okay, oh, cool. And then by the time posters and trailers started coming out, it was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, people went crazy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, because Nolan, which let me, I'm a plug. The most recent episode of the Sigma Cinema podcast that one of us on this podcast was a guest on. I don't know who, but we was talking about Christopher Nolan made a crime drama that Batman just happened to be in. Like, first it's like not really a Batman movie at its core, but he's just the main character.
Right.
And like that's the genius of the shit.
There's the approach is. They didn't approach it as a superhero movie. They approached it as a crime drama that happens to have a superhero in it. And that's when we get to the Batman, we're going to bring up something about that too. So,
sure.
We haven't let our guest speak.
Yeah, right. Like we started with Melissa because it wasn't The Dark Knight. And like the way that the 5 of us are on my screen, like I'm just going around the horn. Don't sue me, ESPN. Hector, man, welcome back to the pod.
Thanks, man.
If we're not all gonna talk about The Dark Knight, man, go ahead and shake it up if you want. But if you want to gush over The Dark Knight, man, feel free.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can't really. This sounds like a broken record with The Dark Knight. It's same for me. I just, it definitely set like Melissa said, it definitely set the bar and it changed, pop culture with as far as the superhero genre. Like,
for sure.
with box office numbers too, because think about it, Marvel's Phase 1 films before Avengers didn't hit a billion, 500 million maybe, a couple, but the Dark Knight definitely changed that.
Wow.
But I think the problem with this movie, the Batman that it's getting, the one that just came out, is it's just that Heath Ledger, Jack Nicholson effect. I don't know what you want to call it, but when people hear Heath Ledger's playing the Joker, and oh, he's got big shoes to fill, he'll never be a Jack Nicholson. If people can if the audience can kind of put that behind them and kind of accept this movie for be a little bit open-minded, because I've been reading it all week, man, all weekend, all day today, just comparing. That's the first thing. This movie turned them down because it wasn't what their favorite was. It wasn't what the Dark Knight was. So it kind of sucks. It's a little kind of counterproductive when trying to open yourself up and accepting a film what the director's trying to give out to the audience. But and because when I read reviews, and first thing they'll say is well, the Dark Knight, or well, Batman Begins, and it's I already kind of like cut them off. Like I don't really continue reading any further because it's just like I said, it's kind of counterproductive to the film and what they're trying to portray to the audience and where Matt Reeves is trying to go, and it just sucks. And so it has its pros and cons, being I guess arguably like one of the best superhero movies of all time, but I have to do that myself. I have to check myself, because it's not like my Zack Snyder movie. It's not, Ben Affleck was supposed to be there. Because I was going to actually send you a tweet, Eric, that Ben Affleck had posted. It said, "Welcome Matt Reeves to the Batcave" a couple years ago.
I remember that.
And people forgot about that,
Yeah,
and,
I did too, honestly.
And I'm like, damn, man, how so much has changed. And but the Dark Knight for me, for sure, it's always gonna be. I don't want to say always, never say never, but it's still gonna be my top Batman movie of all time. And I still stand by what I said on my stories a couple days ago. Batman versus Superman, both Justice League movies, Suicide Squad. I don't consider those as Batman movies.
I was like questioning, like when I did this rewatch over the last couple weeks, I was like, I feel like my opinion might change. Like now I'm a little older. It's been like 5 years since I watched some of them like front to back. I was like, I feel like my opinion, like I'll put in the Dark Knight, and I was like, at this point in my life, I've seen it so many times. Like I'll be like, yeah, it's good. But like, no. Like I was like sitting there watching, I was still like, like I was like, oh shit, like what are they gonna do? I knew what they were gonna do, but I was still like transfixed by it. So it still can confirm the Dark Knight is still absolutely top tier.
I was watching the Lego Batman movie, and then I caught that back and forth between Joker and Batman. He was like, "What about the thing with the boats?"
Yes, it's better than that movie's funny as shit.
Yeah.
As I said, like
Hell
I've got Lego Batman like ranked probably as like my 10th best Batman movie, and that's like a solid 4 out of 5 at least. So I'm like the top 10 of them all, if you include Batman vs Superman and Snyder Cut. I'm like they're all like above average, like very, very, very good movie. Which is, you can't say that same thing about most superheroes that have had their own movies.
True indeed.
It's true. Like Spider-Man, most of them are average, with a couple exceptions.
I really like the Spider-Man movies, but okay.
I kind of love all of them, but like outside of a couple, most of them are like, the Amazing Spider-Mans, like Spider-Man 3. They're all like fine. They're all like good to fine.
So Eric,
but they're on his man. So
Dark Knight.
What's that, Randy?
The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
How about it?
So, no, I'm not going to talk about The Dark Knight.
No.
I'm going to talk
That's
about
your
one that
prerogative.
deserves to be talked about more.
Batman Returns.
Nope.
Damn.
So Batman,
Got
Bruce
me.
Wayne visits his parents' grave, and he
Okay.
pleading with them. Like, I didn't count on being happy. Let somebody else take the risk. And I bring this movie up, Batman, Masking of Phantasm.
Because it's amazing.
Because if you think about it, this is really the first time that Bruce Wayne, as a character in the movie, you examine his psyche as far as the grief with his parents.
Yeah.
If you look at Batman 89 and Batman Returns actually, if you think of it, I don't think his parents are even brought up.
I don't think so.
Barely.
Not once, if probably a throwaway line, but Batman 89, of course, him visiting the spot where they were murdered.
His parents were murdered in that alley.
Right. And of course, the flashbacks. They had the flashbacks. That was good stuff. But they never really dove into his psyche. And Batman Mask of the Phantasm is technically the first movie that actually does that, an animated movie. But it doesn't get its credit. One, it was a flop. It was a bomb. Came out around Christmas in '93. Nobody went to go see it because
Christmas
it was a last-minute decision that they were going to put it in theaters. It was supposed to be a direct-to-video. But on a rewatch, it really holds up very well from front to back. And I think it is a 5-star Batman movie. But it's an animated movie, so it's not gonna get the type of attention that The Dark Knight gets, that Batman 89 gets.
It really does. Like, when you bring it up, like in like geek circles, there's like an eye roll that like you'll be like, well, actually, Mask of the Phantasm, and they're like, okay, but seriously, it's so hard to convince people to watch. Like, I went and saw the Batman on Tuesday with my niece. She loves Robert Pattinson, and she was freaking out about it. I said, okay, I'll take you to the early thing, but you've got to watch. I gave her like the list. She watched the Nolan trilogy and like maybe a couple others. But I told her, I said, honestly, like one of the best Batman movies is Mask of the Phantasm. And she's 16. Her first like reaction was like, it's animated. Like she didn't watch it. Like she was like, well, I'll do it if I have time, and she didn't. It's like
it's time to cut off some family.
Watching the Mask of the Phantasm as an adult, Eric, like it's like, ooh man, this is kind of dark.
It's deep,
as a kid, when I was watching it, it was just like, it's a cartoon. But as you progress, you just watch this as an adult. You're like, damn, this is dark.
Yeah, you don't catch those mature nuances as a child watching those.
No,
killing her dad. There's a lot of episodes of the animated series. Like, I was going to sleep like every last couple weeks and just like go on HBO Max and like throw on a couple episodes just to like stay in the mood. And like, there's like an episode where like Commissioner Gordon gets arrested for taking bribes from like Rupert Thorne, and all the dialogue, and this is a children's animated, all the dialogue is like Law and Order. Like, she's like, what's her name is talking to the DA, and she's just like, no, he received all these shipments from laundered accounts and blah blah blah. And I was like, I was watching this when I was like 5.
Police corruption.
I grew up watching those too. That's why I always used to think, oh, I'm such a Batman fan, and because I grew up watching that animated series with my brother. We watched that every morning. I think it aired at 7 a.m. or something, and that was such a big part of my growing up. But then, when I watch some of the movies, I know you guys really like them, but I'm like, this is not. So I need to watch Mask of the Phantasm. Maybe I will relate to it more,
Yeah, I'm curious what you would think about it.
Yeah.
It's a very layered.
I love that animated series. That's awesome. Yeah, that's a great show.
My only issue with Mask of the Phantasm, and it's mostly just because I'm grown up, is that it's like really short.
Yeah.
It's like 70 minutes long. I feel like it could be an hour and a half long.
That sounds so attractive to me right now, man. After watching Batman versus Superman.
You get through it, on your lunch break. Mask of the Phantasm.
On your lunch break.
Yeah, but no, that's my opinion on. I'm putting that in.
That was a good one, bro.
Batman.
I was not
it's amazing. Did I misread? Or did I like make it up somewhere? But was Mask of the Phantasm originally supposed to end the animated series?
It was, I think that at one point it was something like that, but it was a whole bunch of decisions, last minute decisions that came from that movie.
That was a good decision to keep going.
To keep it going, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got it ranked at number 2.
The GOAT
and like
cartoon.
It would maybe take number 1, like if it was a little longer. I say the same thing about The Nightmare Before Christmas. I'm always like, that's like a perfect movie, and I love watching it every year, but I just wish it was like longer because I get through it so fast. I'm like, oh, more.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you have to get that out there. More people have to check that out.
Please go watch Mask of the Phantasm. And it's like almost 30 years old. It's still like super good. Sub-Zero is good too.
Sub-Zero is really good.
Sub-Zero is underrated, but it was.
Imagine a live action adaptation of Mask of the Phantasm, man.
Gosh. Yeah,
it would kick it. It would be as good as the Batman.
Yeah. Tweak the storyline a little bit more, but man, it'd be good.
And also, since Return of the Joker, that would
Underrated.
be
Also underrated.
Yes.
the
No one
original
has-
cut.
no
I'm
one
sure
has seen it.
all y'all seen that by now.
Mhm.
Yeah. No one else has. Like, you talk to like a normal, they're just like, I don't know what that is. And I'm like, it was Batman Beyond. And they're like, I wasn't into Batman Beyond. I'm like, neither was I. But like, the movie is super, super good.
I was legit
It got
too old
me
for
into
Batman
that.
Beyond.
What is that? That sounds so familiar. I don't know what that is, but it sounds so familiar.
Oh, really? Batman Beyond?
Yeah, what was that?
It was a sequel animated series to the original animated
Okay.
Batman series,
Yeah, that
where
sounds
Terry
so
McGinnis
familiar.
took over.
Yeah,
And
okay.
Bruce Wayne was the old man.
It was very like late 90s, early 2000s. Like,
Yeah.
let's make it cool. And like, I did not give a shit about it when it first came on. Like, I was like, whatever. I'm too old for this. I'm like 9. But, like, I caught the movie on HBO like one morning before school, like real early in the morning. Yeah, I turned on like HBO or something. It was on, and like I watched it, and I was so into it. And I was like, okay, never mind. This is cool. This rules. It's like the same. It's canon.
I take it all back.
The same Batman and the same Joker. And I'm like, oh, this kicks
Yeah.
ass.
Mark Hamill.
43 minutes. Again, very attractive running time.
Yeah, it's very short. It's like an hour and like a little bit of change.
Well, Batman Beyond the movie says 43 minutes, so that's a
Oh, that's
It's
well,
just
not
2
Beyond the
episodes.
movie, The Return of the Joker.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The Batman Beyond the movie is just like the first 2 episodes.
Yeah,
of
they
the show.
smashed a couple
Oh.
episodes together.
It's good. It's worth watching, but they have it just like mixed together to like him becoming Batman Beyond, whatever. Do they call him Batman Beyond?
No.
He has a last name.
Who are you? Who are you supposed to be?
Mr. Beyond.
Vengeance Beyond. But yeah,
Mm,
Mystery of the Batwoman is okay.
yeah.
It's not a good one. It's good. It's not as good.
I was just watching it. Like, this is just not as good as the 2 animated series movies or Return of the Joker.
I remember vividly when the animated series shifted to what, like, it was the adventures of
Batman and Robin.
To match this,
Batman
the
and
Superman
whatever,
animation.
and they changed up the style. And, like, I remember as a kid thinking, this isn't as good. And then I got older and hadn't watched it for years. And I was like, it's probably just full of shit, like, getting older. And then, like, I rewatched some of it. I'm like, this isn't as good.
No.
There's something about it. It's like, it's not as good. Like, I can't really even put my finger on what it is, other than the animation not being as
There's
good.
one great episode when they did make that shift. It involves, I think it's the last episode ever. It involves a bunch of kids telling the story of them seeing Batman, and each of their stories has a different looking Batman in the story.
I
They have
vaguely
the
remember
killer
that.
Batman, and there's another like the old school '60s looking one.
Yeah.
That's probably the last good episode when they did flip it to that Batman and Robin.
Because they made everybody look kind of different. Like, Mr. Freeze had dots for eyes. It was like, why? Like, this isn't better. This is worse on almost every level.
Wasn't he a head on, like, robotic spider legs?
Yeah, at some point, I think. I remember that being a toy, like, on the Walmart shelves. It was like a head on his legs. I remember that.
So,
That's probably why I didn't care about Batman Beyond. Like, I was like, you know what? I'm too old for this.
Where y'all want to go?
Nipples.
That's what I was looking at. I was like,
Yeah.
should we, like, talk about the possibility of the Schumacher cut? Or just full-on go Batman and Robin?
Both.
Yeah, let's talk about. It's not gonna happen.
Nah.
But then again, I don't know with the Discovery thing. It's hard to tell. It really
I'm
is.
into mine. I don't think it'll be as good as what we got, to be honest. I'd like maybe it'll be like better, but like not like on a Snyder cut level.
No,
we get to
it's
hear
not-
we get to hear Tommy Lee Jones drop the F-bomb 1 or 2 times, maybe. That's it.
Yeah, the yeehaw.
It's a lot because they were trying to separate themselves so much from Burton's Batman movies. A lot of darker elements were taken out. The original beginning, which you can see in work print form, with the with Two-Face escaping and the guards are hung and stuff like that. I don't know if y'all have seen that.
Mm-mm.
I've seen pictures from it.
Yeah,
but
you sent me some on it like a couple years ago, a year ago or
Yeah.
something.
then the structure of the movie is totally different the way it is. In the theatrical version, is Batman is introduced first, but in the Schumacher cut, Bruce Wayne is basically the scene where he comes and Jim Carrey meets them, and he said, "Oh, that scene comes first." And you notice when he looks out the window and he sees the bat signal, and he goes and it's Chase Meridian. Yeah. Originally, you notice when he's looking out, they still kept the sound effects. You hear sirens and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. He actually, in the Schumacher cut, goes from there to the Two-Face crime scene that you see in the theatrical version.
That makes sense.
The
if
vault.
You think about it, I don't know how well y'all know the movie. It's
yeah. No, I can picture it for sure. Because the bat signal's not a beeper.
Right. That scene was originally supposed to come later.
You guys are kind of talking about something but not explaining. So there's obviously a Schumacher cut of Batman and Robin.
Batman Forever.
Batman Forever
that's not released or something.
Yeah, his original cut of the movie was toned down time-wise and tone-wise
to sell toys.
What we got with the theatrical cut.
Okay.
Karen's wanted to go to McDonald's.
Yeah, and that crap. Because Batman Returns came out, they didn't expect it to be...
It worked. I had the Batman Forever McDonald's cups. It worked. Like, it made more money.
Kids so they kind of wanted it to be more for kids friendly?
Yeah. The tone, going from Batman Returns to Batman Forever, the tone is crazy.
It absolutely worked. I had one Batman Returns action figure, and I had like 30 Batman Forever.
Yo, it was the Bruce Wayne where you could push his head down and put the Batman cowl on top. Was that Batman Returns?
Maybe.
Nobody.
No, that was George Clooney. I remember.
Batman or Robin.
Yeah, you could put, it was like, you put the thing on him, and then the leg things, it pissed me off, they had skates. I remember it pissed me off. I was like, yeah, because I always want my Batman to have skates on.
You get the ice, I'll get the Iceman.
Yeah.
The whole irony of them wanting to make money, and yet they have these different original cuts of the movie that they can release and make more money.
Mm-hmm.
But the other cuts exist because they thought they would make more money. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy.
I don't know if it would be like better, but I'd watch it. I think the same thing of the Ayer cut though, Suicide Squad. Like I'm kind of in the minority. Like I'm like, I don't know if it'll be better.
I definitely think it'll be better.
Probably be a little better.
It'll be better. It won't be worse or the same. I think.
Not like on the same level. I think everybody expects now like every director's cut to be on the same.
Yeah.
Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah, but that goes goes to speaking to that. Yeah. People use director's cut as slang, and Zack Snyder's movie is technically not that.
And like, first off, it's not really a director. It's a whole different movie.
But yeah, people do have those expectations, which is unfortunate. But I do believe David Ayer's original movie edited without the poppy soundtracks, and because it's more to it than just how the movie is edited and blah blah blah. The new scenes, like color grading, sound effects. For example, Josh Whedon, I'm not getting personal, but anyway, Josh Whedon, for example, when Superman comes back and he's fighting Wonder Woman, he goes up and he like slams her down into the ground. Her moan, she has a moan. It's sexualized, like, and in Zack Snyder, it's like a painful groan, like little stuff like that.
Yeah,
you know. Little nuanced stuff like that matters. Like, why is she getting off on getting hit? Is this?
I feel like Snyder had his tragedy, man. I feel like Warner Brothers was in the office and was just like, well, the Avengers did well. Let's get him.
Yeah, no, that's all that happened.
And it made sense on paper. Like, they sold it like that. They were like, of course, that's gonna come in, and it was like, oh, fun.
But it's two different stylistic.
Alienated everybody.
Yeah. Two different styles of directing that they don't matter how many. If you get Spielberg and David Fincher to edit the same movie, it's gonna come out not great because they're so stylistically different. That's what happened with Whedon.
That though, but I don't know.
I'd watch it.
What year did
Let's not compare Joss Whedon to the
Batman and Robin was 97.
Yeah,
97. So so it's 89 was the first one in 97. So I mean. And then they didn't have like Burton wasn't contracted to do like a trilogy or nothing like that, right? It was just because the difference between the '89 and Batman and Robin is so different, and just like what the hell happened between that and similar to Spider-Man 3 and Spider-Man 1, like what?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Where in the hell does
Studio interference.
To answer your question, Hector, he had a 2-movie deal with an option to do the third.
Okay.
Me and Randy spoke about this. They had a meeting, and some dumb exec asked the question. We all are familiar with Bruce Wayne, the character in the background, right? Of what happened. Some dumb Warner Brothers exec asked, why does Bruce Wayne have to be so depressed all the time? You know, the character who saw his parents murdered?
Yeah.
That's where they were going. And Burton, I think Burton and or Michael Keaton were both in the meeting, and they said that's when they knew it was over.
Hey,
that's when they left.
Shout out to Warner Brothers. Fumbling the comic book movies
kid,
since the 80s.
Yeah, no, because I specifically remember like, so in '97 I must have been 5th grade. So 4th grade, I was still into toys. I remember not really liking the aesthetics of Forever and Batman and Robin. Like I didn't own any, but I had a shit ton of toys from the '89 and Batman Returns. But I didn't like any. I didn't like the way Robin looked. I didn't like it was. I remember specifically not really liking or collecting any of the figures of the Batman and Robin and Batman Forever.
Yeah, I apologize. I get them mixed up because I'm sorry. I really don't like either of them. I know Batman Forever has its fans, and that's awesome. That's great. They could not have done a better job of trying to pull me in. It's like every actor I like is in one or the other.
Yeah.
And I love Alicia Silverstone. Let's just say that. I worship this woman. And I can't get through that movie. That's Robin, right? Like, I have tried. And it's like, which one is Drew in? Forever? Sorry, I mixed them all up. Yeah.
Yeah, it has basically a cameo role in Forever.
I love Jim Carrey. I love Drew Barrymore. You could not have stuffed all the people I like into one movie any better.
Uncle Alfred.
I cannot bear the aesthetic of the movie. You know exactly.
The neon.
Like Hector just said, I can't deal with it. So yeah, it's so ugly. I'm sorry.
The only reason I watched them so much as a kid. Like, I was the demographic for both.
I know.
Batman Forever came out. And, like, my mom bought it for me. She let me watch it as much as I wanted. Like, I was fine. Like, I was up, like, so the element of being PG-13, so it was, like, a little grown up. So I was just so into it. Like, I didn't give a shit. Like, if you'd asked me, like, I was like, this is as good as any movie on the planet. Like, I don't care.
You were the right age, like you
said.
Yeah.
I had toys. I had the Batman and Robin like video game. I had the soundtrack. Like I was just the age. I did not care. So even now when I watch them, that nostalgia element is just, it's too prevalent there for me. Even Batman, like I know it's shit. Like I watch it and I make fun of it as much as anybody. But I will never hate the movie. Like there's some people like worst thing.
Has anybody ever listened to the commentary for Batman and Robin by Joe Schumacher?
Didn't he apologize multiple times?
Yeah, he actually.
It's like a Simpsons joke. That's so funny.
If you watch, Batman Forever, I liked it. I think it has the perfect balance of what he was trying to do, trying to go back to the '60s campy, and with a little bit of a dark element from what the theatrical cut was. So Batman and Robin, I guess he went way off the rails with the '60s aesthetic. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Randy hates this. I do too.
Cool party.
Arnold Schwarzenegger getting top billing over the title character.
Oh yeah.
Arnold, he is big right above the thing, and somebody counted all of the puns. It's like
you're not sending me to the cooler.
Okay, everybody chill.
Like they knew.
Does he say "ice to see you"?
He probably does.
He goes. Let's kick some ice.
Yeah.
Ice always winterize your pipes.
And what happened to the dinosaurs?
Allow me to break the ice.
The ice age.
Oh my god.
But for $25 million, which is what he got paid, I'll say all that silly shit too.
Yeah, he was having fun.
Because you have to
25
know,
million in 98.
you have to know in their heads, those actors are like, man, this shit is gonna be corny.
Yeah.
Well,
This is
Nick,
so
Nick
easy.
brought up the soundtrack. I will say Batman Forever, the soundtrack. That's top tier. Like, that's,
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say,
that's incredible. Right in the perfect wheelhouse of what I like, in terms of music. That 1997, right? Like, that's perfect for me.
95 for
95. Thank you.
Yeah.
no,
Exactly.
both Schumacher soundtracks go off.
I need to re-listen to the Batman and Robin because I don't know it as well. But Forever crushed it. Oh my god.
I just know that Seal song. That
Yeah.
song
There's
stands out.
U2. Yeah. The U2
Yeah, you
song,
too had a nice song, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the U2 song kicks ass. But
That was
it's
my
like,
whole adolescence, that soundtrack. It's crazy.
it's like when they talk about Phil Collins doing Tarzan. I
Oh,
feel that
boy.
way about Seal. Like they went up to Seal and they were said, it's just a stupid Batman movie. Like you don't have to go, like just write like a good song for it. And then he sat down and wrote the best
The
song.
best song ever.
Right.
It's like this is called Kiss Rose. Like what does that mean?
You don't need to know what it means, okay?
Yeah.
You just feel it. It's like Christopher Nolan. Just feel it, or whatever the tenant thing.
Yeah.
The Batman and Robin soundtrack had like the Smashing Pumpkins. It had like Bone Thugs.
Okay, I gotta listen to this.
Yeah, they
again,
did have
okay?
a song on
It had like a really good song on it.
Any 90s soundtrack, no matter how bad the movie is, no offense, I'll probably love the soundtrack. So.
Oh, man.
They had great soundtracks. But I don't like, and it's something I was thinking on this last rewatch of Batman and Robin. I was like, if the only Batman thing that existed in life was the 60s television show, and this was just like a 90s remake of that, like on the level of like
It'd have been the best thing in the world, right?
Wild Wild West, it would have been way better. Like, when they're up in the rocket and then they're like, surf's up, and then they just jump off.
Did he say Cowabunga? I
Yeah,
remember him saying.
Yeah, he said Cowabunga.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he said
duh.
Cowabunga.
Wow.
Cowabunga. But that would have kicked ass. Like this is the '90s remake of the television show.
But unfortunately, that's not our reality.
I don't know, man. I don't know about this.
This
I
is
don't
why
know.
And another
Superman
thing
works
with
alone.
Clooney,
All
try
these
to
other
remember
things were better.
But listen, did you watch ER back in the day?
No, sorry.
Well, it's for anybody who remembers.
But
Clooney
I've
used
seen
to do
Out of
this
Sight.
okay, even out of sight.
Yeah.
Oh, good. You remember that. Clooney used to do this thing back in the day, in the 90s. He used to talk and look down and like
Yes.
shake his head.
Yes, I was making fun of this the other day, and like nobody.
He stopped doing it. I guess he like, well, and he do this.
Somebody
You
brought it
know
to his
it-
attention.
There needs to be more celebrity impressions on this podcast. This is
Oh
fun.
man.
Come here,
But
George.
Clooney's saying,
Stop
so
doing this
Batman
shit.
89, Batman 89, Melissa, the epic scene, who are you? I'm Batman.
Yeah.
Christian Bale, and he crashes, I'm Batman.
Yeah.
George Clooney, hi, freeze, I'm Batman.
With his head nod.
And I was like exaggerating, but I was like, I'm not. The entire movie, they got the big ass telescope. He's just don't point it at my bedroom.
Yeah.
He does the same thing.
Yeah, when they were at the thing, he was,
I need to see that part.
As Batman, he's the exact same. He's like, you get the ice, I'll get the Iceman.
yeah.
It's like you're Bruce Wayne, and it's like, no, I'm not. I'm Batman. It's like, nah, you're Bruce
right.
Wayne.
That's
Like,
so
uh,
funny. So did he stop that after that movie? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not sure the point where he stopped it, that somebody
Okay.
had to have told him because he used to do it
We
a
need
lot.
to check Ocean's 11 because that's 2001, and we can figure out what happened.
You watch him on ER. I was a big ER fan. ER was great. Watch him on ER. You watch him in the movie One Fine Day. Somebody
Yeah, I've
was-
seen that.
they were like, this charming bastard. Look at him. He'd be a great movie. And like he kind of was in a way.
Yeah.
Like he was, but he didn't change it up as Batman at
No.
all.
Yeah,
right,
between,
right,
yeah.
right.
Never leave the cave without it. The whole movie.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he's walking in the mansion with Alfred, and he's doing that. He's like, he has his hands behind his back, and he's
Yes.
walking with Alfred. He's hunched over. Don't tell me you're on his side again.
Yeah, again, yeah.
He's like, She's like, Alfred's sick. He goes, Alfred's not sick. He's not. I can tell. Okay, I can tell.
It's smarmy. The word is smarmy. Something like that.
There you go.
But I can tell. And it's
Yeah,
like, why are
it's
you
just-
That's pretty good for like a rich billionaire. You'd never expect to be Batman though. It just sucks that his Batman's the same
Throwing
way.
it off the scent, right?
Yeah, if I stand by, like, George Clooney was like a good choice for the
Yeah.
role.
I
People
sh-
say he was horrible. Like, no,
Nah,
handsome guy, good jawline, charming, all charisma. Great choice for Bruce Wayne, but if he'd have changed up his Batman, even just a little, I would have been like, okay, he's not that bad. But he's just the same in both.
Eric, I changed my answer to your Bruce Wayne story.
Oh god,
Yeah.
what's that?
Clooney.
No. But even I don't know
As
when
the
the last
worst
time.
Batman?
What's that, Melissa?
What was the question? The worst Batman?
Not your favorite Bruce Wayne.
Oh,
George
okay.
Clooney.
Okay.
But yeah, Batman and Robin. I'll give one actress credit in Batman and Robin because they knew exactly what movie they were in. That's Uma Thurman.
Yeah.
For sure.
She took that. She cooked the ham to 10.
For
I
sure.
understand,
It up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would argue that everyone involved understood, like the kids say, understood the assignment. But the assignment was shit. Like, the assignment was trash.
There you go.
What's his name? John Glover played the, like, crazy
Yeah,
scientist. And he said that, like, Schumacher would be like, he'd be like, remember, we're doing a cartoon and action. And
Yeah,
like, so
I heard that.
God.
It's a
But-
cartoon.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
like,
it's-
that guy's like, be an evil, crazy scientist, and, like, that's exactly what he did. Like, Schwarzenegger, he probably could have done a serious version of Mr. Freeze. They told him not to. They were like,
Right.
hey,
Nah, bro.
Oh.
And you know what? There's flashes in the pan in that movie that are just, they're not campy, they're not goofy. When Freeze is in jail, right? And he carves out the ice figure of his wife. And there's a little moment of him looking at the ice and the camera panning around. That's like a really genuine good moment.
bad.
And then,
Why is there a freezer beam in the
yeah, it's in the freezer beam.
jail cell? Like, how did
And
you get
random
that?
Jesse Ventura cameos. You gotta stay in a cold zone. Like, oh my god.
It's so
Wait.
stupid. It really
Oh,
is.
yeah, he was in that movie too. That's right.
Yeah, he was the guard.
Yeah, he was. He was.
But anyway, before I forget, random thing. I know Hector appreciate this, or whoever has a home theater. Take away The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is number one, like with most things Batman when it comes to this. But Batman Forever is one of the more awesome home theater reference movies for sound.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you
Watch that
ever
tonight.
put it on a home theater. It's a great sounding home theater movie. Also, keep in mind, a lot of people don't like Batman Forever, but Batman Forever has a fantastic look to it. It's the first Batman movie to get an Oscar nod for cinematography.
I kind of like the
Word.
look. Like, I know Wilson was saying earlier, she like
Yeah.
hates. She thinks it's like ugly, and like I get it. But I remember kind of liking like. It was like this. It was almost like Gotham City was like a circus. Which, I mean, there is a circus in the movie.
Maybe I meant that about Batman and Robin. Sorry. Forever,
It's like-
I understand at least,
You
and
know-
a lot of people love Nicole Kidman in that movie as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's very
True.
easy. They run together for people who haven't seen either one in a while. Batman
Yeah.
and Robin and Batman
Yeah, I'm
Forever.
sorry.
Unfortunately,
Been together a little too much because, like, to me, like
Yeah.
Forever is definitely better than Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Like, definitely. It's
Oh, yeah.
not great.
Oh yeah.
Something else about Melissa was talking about how Kim Basinger and Michael Keaton, like the romance in it.
Mhm.
They had great chemistry in Batman '89. Great chemistry, like, you know, rom-com chemistry. I love to
Yes.
see
Yeah.
sitting at the table because it's funny, but it also shows how like Bruce Wayne is just alone and he doesn't really know how to like deal
Yes.
with people. I
Yes.
love that scene. It's so cute. And then in Batman Returns, he's got great chemistry with Michelle Pfeiffer. Like when they're dancing, there's always a scene of them
Yeah.
dancing. Like that scene is so good when they both figure out like each other's
Yeah.
identities. Then you get to Forever, and you got Nicole Kidman, who's probably like the hottest person ever.
Yes. Yes.
Time.
Yes.
She's
Like,
not
Drew
not.
Barrymore- And like they have no chemistry whatsoever.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
Not so awful, but like there's nothing happening there.
Who was
Right.
the love interest in? Was it Elle McPherson?
Yeah.
Elmer Pearson.
They had like
was,
one scene together talking.
Why did you call me Ivy?
And he's just he calls it.
Wow, I don't even remember that.
Yeah, they were like having dinner, and it's like a 1 minute scene.
There's a press conference too. And,
Yeah.
there's a press conference, and then where Ivy interrupts, and
yeah, she's on his shoulders.
He's like,
Yeah.
the reporter's like, when are you gonna pop the big question? And he's like, oh, you're a lot of help.
Yeah. That's the don't point it in my bedroom scene.
Everything you guys are saying about Batman and Robin, it feels like just the biggest sellout in history. Like everything about it, they hire a model instead of an actor. Like, no offense to Elle McPherson, she's not a good actor. I've seen Friends. Like, she had a multi-episode stint. Once again, the show's selling out. Like, what? Like, why? I'm sorry. You know, she ruins the show almost. That's how bad. No offense to her. She's a fantastic model, Elle the Body McPherson. But all the choices they made in this movie, it's like, what are you doing?
It's all about the merch.
Kind of
they want to
go ahead. Sorry,
toys. They want to sell toys. You know, they target the kids, the children, sell all the toys and the merch. Not a good story.
And another thing, Melissa, you bring up something. Now, I'm a diehard Prince fan, so I appreciated it. But also, I'm a fan of filmmakers having creative freedom. Tim Burton didn't want the Prince songs in his movie.
Yeah,
that was a mandate by Warner Brothers before they started filming. Like, we got to have at least 2 Prince songs in the movie, like part of the plot. So it worked, in my opinion, but he didn't want it.
Yeah, they don't really make sense. They're good. Like, I've seen the movie so many times and I love that soundtrack.
Yeah, great soundtrack.
I can't even picture the scene without Party Man playing, but like
I don't really question it because it's 89. Like,
right, yeah.
I think it goes perfect.
Yeah,
especially the parade scene, the truck.
I can't separate it. It's
and the art gallery when he's in the art gallery, the Party Man, that was just it was so good.
I think Kim was even dating Prince at the time, and it all fits together for me. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. They were like dating. Yeah, they were dating.
I see.
And there's another cameo. A lot of people don't realize why it exists. I forgot her name, Elizabeth something. So the guy Bob Kane, the guy who created Batman, right? He remarried later in his life, and his wife is in Batman Forever and Batman and Robin.
Yeah, she's like the publicist reporter.
Yeah.
Lady.
Edward, you're a genius, and blah, blah, blah. Tell us. We got them, must know.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, there's Bruce Wayne, that lady with the glasses.
Brucey.
Yeah, it's Brucey. That's Bob Kane's wife.
Well, I made fun of Elle McPherson, but Jerry Hall is Batman, the first one,
89,
right?
yeah.
She was good. I mean, she was good for her role.
But like, I feel like that's why, like, not everybody likes Returns more than 89. I'd say they're about on par, but I always give Returns the edge.
Yeah.
Just simply because there's a lot of stuff in 89 that, especially watching it now, I'm like, Tim Burton didn't want that in there. Like,
you can tell. That's what I say. Returns is Tim Burton's movie top to bottom because they begged him to come back.
And I don't like it as much.
I've always been a Tim Burton fan. And the Returns is so, like, gross and dark.
It is. Actually, I'm a Tim Burton fan too, but I'm like an Edward Scissorhands fan. I'm not like
Edward Scissorhands is amazing.
Yeah, you can tell those are his movies.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I like Returns. I like Returns more than the 89.
Yeah, it's definitely darker and tonally for a reason. They gave him the edge.
Yeah.
No musical numbers and.
Like,
musical.
I mean, technically, that's what they are. The great thing, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, the parade. Yeah.
So good, but I feel like Tim Burton was like, I don't need the Prince song here. I don't need the kill Batman's parents. Like, that's a stupid choice. It worked in the context of the film, but in terms of like, that wasn't his idea, or like maybe it was, but it was like somebody should have been like, no, that's a bad idea. Whereas Returns, I don't think there's anything in it that's like bad. Like, everything is like, oh, this rules. This is scary. This is awesome. I love this.
I wonder what did happen with Kim. Maybe that was his studio decision too, and Tim was like,
that's
I don't even want to work with her. I want to work with Michelle Pfeiffer or whatever. I don't know.
I'm not mad.
Too rom-commy for him or something. I don't know.
But shout out to Marlon Wayans getting the $100,000
Oh, yeah.
Still
check
getting no
for
bag.
not
Oh,
doing anything.
man.
How
Yeah.
much was it?
$100,000
Okay, good.
in '92. What's the inflation
Damn.
on that?
Yeah,
About to
I
say,
know. I wonder.
isn't he still getting paid off of that?
I hope
I
so.
believe he's still getting residuals from the sales of the movie.
Good
That's
for him.
crazy.
It is like 100
I would
G's.
love
Like
to see that just because I can't picture
Yeah.
it. I can't even picture him. No offense to him. Like, I'm not saying about. It's hard for me to picture him as Robin in any Batman movie, but like in Batman
returns, yeah.
I really would like that. Would just be so.
What
so
ended up
odd.
happening?
They just
Ron,
decided
yeah.
to drop him.
Oh,
They
didn't
wrote him
work
out of like that's too much.
Yeah.
They're probably right. I can't even imagine time for Robin in that movie.
No.
But they had two villains and gave ample time to both villains.
Yeah.
right.
That's the biggest criticism for most people is that the movie's more about them.
Weren't there three?
And Christopher
We're
Walken.
talking about Returns, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
Christopher
Yeah.
Walken. Yeah, that's who I was
Yeah,
thinking.
you count him as
Catwoman. But like Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman, that like changed my life. That was the best thing that ever happened to me,
Yes,
So-
sir.
for sure.
Yes, sir.
And then like Danny DeVito's Penguin, like there's nothing
Oh, he
better
was. Yeah, he was
Amazing.
perfect in that.
Yeah.
Man. He was
I'm
amazing. in that.
That scarred me for life. That's,
Yeah, but it's so good. So I don't know. Like my mom always hated that one. She was like, "Ew, that's
Yeah.
like I love it.
You flush it, I flaunt it.
I just think it's
Yeah.
neat that he had like."
Hey,
no.
Hey, Eric, Max Shrek he was never portrayed in any movie after that or before that, was he?
No,
I don't think
the
so.
name Max Shrek comes from vampire movie back in the day. The actor who played the vampire.
Nosferatu
Yeah, Nosferatu.
just turned 100.
Okay.
That was a Tim Burton invention.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I was just like, I don't remember seeing that name after or before.
Yeah, before or
any
after, that's
DC movies,
correct.
films. So I'm just like, that just kind of like, did they just kind of throw him in there? Because I'm sure he wasn't cheap. So
Right.
it just kind of makes you wonder, why they went that route instead of just bringing someone else in there.
True enough.
Tim Burton's
And a lot
Rachel
of people-
Dawes.
Yeah,
And there's
people say
go
like
ahead.
Christopher Walken just plays himself in that movie.
I was just about to say that. This is the moment where, if you know Christopher Walken, it's just like Nick Cage. There's a point in their career where they become aware of how people see them, and he started to play up the Walkenism.
Interesting.
But he's so good in Batman Returns. Like he's
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
such
great.
Yeah,
the
he's
whole
good.
movie, like even when he's in the sewer talking.
Yeah.
And Bruce Wayne. Why the hell you dressed like Batman?
My favorite line, it's a one-word line. When they're at the masquerade party, Bruce Wayne says something, and Walken looks at him, yawn. And this
So funny.
Oh, man, yeah. The yin and the yang of the rich kids.
But there's an element of Batman Returns not a lot of people question. They just think Penguin is crazy. Why does he go after the firstborn only?
Because he was the firstborn.
And there's a leftover. No, actually, he's a secondborn. There's a leftover from the original script. He was supposed to be Max Shrek's brother. Max
Oh,
Shrek was
wow.
supposed to be the firstborn, and they abandoned
Oh.
him. That's why he went after the firstborn. They're like, and starting with your son. That's why he wanted to take his son.
Ugh.
They're like, no,
Oh,
not,
shit.
not
I did
Chip,
not know
like
that.
me. No.
Damn, why would they throw that out? That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a whole subplot. It would have been probably 20 more minutes longer. So
Wow.
I'd have
Wow.
watched.
if you think about it, think about how random it is. He just decides
Yeah.
instead of the children to go after the firstborn.
I always thought it was because he was the firstborn.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah.
fun.
That's crazy.
Yeah. We're,
I even
that's where that
remember
comes
as a
from.
kid, Annette Bening was supposed to be the Catwoman, and then she got pregnant, and then she just
Yeah.
so I even remember that all happening back. Like that's how much of a
Yeah,
big
that's crazy.
I was back then.
What's
Yeah.
her name? What's
Sean
her name?
Young?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
she was cast, but she broke her ankle.
Oh, is
She
that what
was-
happened?
No, she was cast in
Vicky
the first
Vale.
one as Vicky Vale.
Yeah,
Oh.
she was cast as Vicky
Oh.
Vale.
Then she
And
started to go after the Catwoman role.
She's
Oh,
talking to Burton to get the
Yeah,
Catwoman
she broke onto the set. It's video. She recorded herself doing it.
She was
Whoa.
on. Yeah, that was some Fatal Attraction
that's
shit.
like
crazy.
before her time. That's like she did
Yeah.
like an Instagram before that was even.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Damn,
but then
she would
got-
have killed that role.
I guess they just threw her. It was Warner Brothers. They just threw her the role in Ace Ventura, like Get Lost.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We'll like this role.
Any last final thoughts on the legacy movies? We're closing in on an hour.
I feel like we have not talked about the
You
Nolan
didn't talk
film.
about like
At all.
Dark Knight Rises or
We
anything,
covered
but
the Dark Knight a little bit in the grand scheme of things. But we really
Right,
haven't talked
it went off.
Batman Begins is amazing. The Dark Knight is more amazing. The Dark Knight
Yeah,
Rises
Chicago.
is good.
I like the Dark Knight Rises. I like Bane.
I like Bane too.
I was not like happy at all about the casting of Tom Hardy as Bane. I didn't think he looked the part. I didn't think he was big enough. I didn't think
Right.
I didn't think his his background.
Right.
He was not from Spain. Whatever. I didn't like anything about it.
Right.
And he's still like after to this day. I think after every watch, I started to like it more and more. Him as Bane, but like you have to imagine Christopher Nolan had his trilogy written out and he had it planned out prior to Heath Ledger's death. So for that,
Yeah, back to
trying
the
to come
corner.
up with,
Yeah.
I want to say last minute, trying to rewrite everything. I give him credit. He did a good job. I think he's still,
Agree.
did a worthy closing to the chapter because you have to imagine how crazy it must have been knowing they were like probably starting pre-production for the third film and then this happens and they're like, so what do we do now? I wonder though, was Bane planned
Original
in the
part.
trilogy? Like, cause we'll never know. Like, they've just been so secretive. Like, there's never any kind of any leaked opening scripts or any kind of info on what his third movie with Joker would have been. But because I can't imagine Heath being the only villain. He had to have bought somebody. But
Yeah.
Like when I watched Rises, and like there's so many plot holes in the Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
For it to be as good as it is, like I still like rewatch it. I was like, dude, this movie is great. There are so many holes that I'm like, there's no way any of this was in the original script.
Yeah. It's like Hector said, they had to write themselves out of a corner because it was planned a certain way, which is to credit to them. That's not an easy thing to do and still have the movie come out as good as it was.
Okay, so they left, like, not Heath, the Joker was, like, hanging at the end of The Dark Knight, right? He was just hanging off that building. What, was he supposed to be in the third movie?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the cops came and arrested him. If you look in the background, you can see that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He
'Cause I
didn't
kept
say
watching that part, trying to figure out what was going on there.
Yep. And he says, you and I are destined to do this forever. He didn't say that for no reason. That was very.
Wow.
I just it sucks, man.
Immovable object. That's why the Dark Knight is so good, and like Rises is very good.
Yeah.
But I noticed, once I started noticing the plot holes, and like every time I watch it now, I'm like, dude, there's no way. Like they had to start from scratch and like do it kind of in a hurry.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the whole plane thing with Bane makes zero sense. Like I'm sorry, that's the worst plan anyone has ever had. No way they're letting a bunch of random people on a CIA.
I love that scene.
Like I'm like,
It's
so
a great
good.
scene, but
It's so fun to watch.
each subsequent watch, stuff starts to stick out.
Yeah.
About
Good thing
Why
I've
would-
only watched it twice.
Bane's henchmen falling on their own in the background for no reason at all.
Oh, yes, on the roof. You're like,
On
what?
the roof. It's just
stuff like that. Like, why would they make a prison that you could climb out of? They're like, oh, I hope. It's like a child did this. A child did this. We knew this. Put a target on something. Like they don't need to. Why? And then like I don't know. I'm gonna go on and on and on. Like how the hell did
Yeah. We can't go on and on and on. We're too close to an hour.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, how did he get into the city? They blew up all the bridges specifically so no one could get in or out. Like, how do you get into the city?
Nick.
He came in on now that part I'll defend. That goes
Yeah.
back to Batman Begins, the scene them fighting on the ice. And he when they have the people march out on the ice and Rises, Batman comes up, he's just chilling, walking. That goes to the skill that he learned from Ducard, if you want to play it that way.
Ducard.
That's a callback in my book.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think Rises was good. The score was freaking amazing.
Yeah.
And I think I thought it was pretty smart that Nolan kind of substituted the you know, because Joker is not really an imposing person as a villain. Like, you know, with like
Yeah.
that's from a masculinity. Like, I thought they was smart to give someone, you know, put someone on screen that's tougher, bigger than Batman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Interesting.
Give you
He's
like,
like a
because when you see, I saw it in IMAX, and when you see
Woo,
Hardy
yeah.
get up, that first, when he's like, you know, when they catch Gordon in the sewer, and in that first scene without his shirt, and I'm like, okay, what the.
All right, we back. 5 been cut to 4. Because, like I said at the top, Melissa hasn't seen the Batman. We've all seen the Batman. Some of us twice. Nicholas. And, pretty sure we all had a good time with it. Where do we start? Eric, man, you mentioned Matt Reeves. I think that you was hinting that Matt Reeves took like that psychological Zodiac 7 and made that movie that Batman just happened to be in.
Yes. The same way, like we mentioned, what Nolan actually has said, the movie Heat inspired him for The Dark Knight. And if that's true, Matt Reeves definitely had to have been inspired by 7. Just tone, aesthetic, it works perfectly. That's the awesome thing about Batman when everybody else has their interpretation of him. There's so many different places you can go.
Yeah.
And this movie definitely went there. So now I got a question for all of y'all. I think everybody, probably not Nick, because Nick is stingy with the 5 stars. I think everybody on here probably has rated it 5 stars, right?
No.
True.
Yeah, but Nick, what is it, 4.5?
I give it a 4.5. It's really good. I got like even if I'm thinking like if I got like a ding or two, that's enough for me to not give it a full 5. Like nothing's a 5. The Dark Knight is a 5. And I came out of this and I was like, that wasn't as good as The Dark Knight, but
it's close.
Damn good. But like The Dark Knight is a 5, like one of my few 5s.
Yeah. A lot of people are intimidated by the runtime. People casually, they're saying, it's 3 hours. Yeah, you might be in a movie theater for 3 hours, but the movie is a little under. It's like 2 hours and 45.
I can't lie.
It doesn't feel that long at all. The movie.
Yeah, it felt long, but I didn't look at my phone or anything like that. Like I was just like,
I had to hit the restroom for like the last hour 45.
Long. Right. You could tell it was long, but it didn't feel like
Nah.
When I say it feels long, it's like you get boring moments or you feeling restless or whatever. I don't think it was definitely that.
This shit was never boring.
Mm-hmm.
No, not even a little bit.
Movie was. I was trying to stay away from. I don't even think I watched the last full trailer. Trying to stay away from a bunch of spoilers and stuff. I didn't even know John Turturro was gonna be in a movie.
The guy you said
I
that.
didn't know it was Sarsgaard. Peter Sarsgaard was in the movie.
You said that the other day, and I thought to myself, I knew Turturro was in it, but I forgot Sarsgaard was in it.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a great movie. I like Robert Pattinson as Batman, Bruce Wayne. I liked it. Look at it.
Man, like the title card comes up, and I was like, okay, that's similar to Joker. I dig it.
Yeah,
and then
title card.
It just jumps into that first kill. I'm like, oh, we're getting right into this shit. Like I'm digging it. Like yeah.
Okay, but the best compliment I can give the new movie is when I saw it on Tuesday. 2 different parents had to take their kids out and never came back. I was like,
oh wow,
that's pretty great.
It was scary as fuck. Some of those, like that first thing with Riddler, like sitting there, I got the same reaction both times I saw. Oh, like a bunch of people.
No, yeah, dudes watching like the debate on TV, and then you just see like 2 dots, like Pennywise style, and I like pointed at the screen, like, oh shit.
You did the Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
Riddle. He's gonna ask him a riddle. He didn't.
Yeah. But yes, there's genuine a lot of. One thing I want to mention is the chase scene.
That shit was so good.
First of all, I don't know. I mentioned this. I don't know if y'all saw it in the premium cinema with great sound. When he started that damn Batmobile up,
man,
that Joker almost blew the roof off the theater. Now we've seen chase scenes. Now what's that, Hector?
No, you're right. Agreed.
Yeah, we've seen chase scenes where people are weaving in and out of traffic, but I don't think we often see too many chase scenes where there's a traffic jam.
They're driving
You know what I
through
mean? And they toyed with that a bit. I liked, but man, that was a fantastic chase scene. I like
I
the
got
camera
you.
angles. You have
I got
the close
you.
wide. Yeah, that we're gonna get talking about him and
Oh, man.
that makeup.
Yeah, it was so like realistically done. It wasn't like a scene where it's like, oh, like, you know, this would never happen, or it was like, and the angles, like he's using the rear view, the side angle, the camera angles from his car, and it was just so well done. Like it wasn't, it could, I'm sure, like watching it from, like, you know, if you were actually there and off the freeway, or, you know, it would just look like it
Right.
was crazy, but just the way he did Reeves did it, the shots, man, it just was so intense, and amazing use of the audio. That shit was hitting my chest.
Yeah.
There were a few scenes, like seeing it on. I sound like I'm bragging. I promise I'm not. But it was like seeing it on
IMAX.
It was like the fan first IMAX thing. So it was like whatever. It was like that. Seeing it that night, it was almost like the crowd wanted to clap at like multiple points, but it wasn't really that kind of movie. It wasn't like No Way Home where everything was like, yes. It was like I could feel it, like different things would happen. It was like the crowd wanted to clap, but they were like, I don't want to ruin the moment. The Batmobile scene was when it was like finally, like when he flipped the car and got out and did the thing. Everybody was finally like, fuck, yes. Like they were like, finally we can clap because this movie rules. It was kind of like collectively when everyone was like, "Oh, this is next level good.
Yeah,
this is not
badass.
Another good movie."
Yeah, well, I think Warner's has, you know, I mean, if they're smart, and we'll see how smart they'll be after this merger. But if they have a good thing going with like the way they can like create different movies based off like one character from different directors' point of view, like this was very successful. Like and if they can just keep doing that, I think that's the advantage they have over Marvel right now is that their ability to have multiple movies and story arcs from the same comic book character. Because and if they just, I think they need to just continue to give these guys their creative freedom to do what they want, and like we don't have to wait. You know, we're gonna get Batman in another few months. You know, on the big screen. We don't have to wait next 2 years or another year and a half for the sequel for this one, because now we get to see a different variation of Batman. So I think if it's done right, it could be a smart move, and for them to just grow this universe of DC on film. And on top of that, I was going to tell you, Eric, that I saw the there was you were telling me what were we talking about? We talked about a lot of stuff, but how Gotham in this movie was kind of like a character. Like I never would expect it to be like it played like almost its own character. Like the way he shot Gotham, I was just, man, like, because from the trailer, you know, we knew it was going to be a beautiful shot film, but like from the start of the movie, and how he just uses images of Gotham, and when he's walking in the background, walking in the steps, I was getting chills, and I'm like, man, I was wanting this movie to be the Batman movie that, you know, we can kind of turn our attention to something else different compared to what Warner Brothers has done lately with the Batman that we don't know what they're going to do with, and it was that they hit it on all cylinders. And
definitely. That's funny you mentioned that. They filmed the movie mostly in the UK, but they fused shots in from different locations, Chicago. So there's a few Chicago scenes, like when he's riding over the bridge. Some of the train scenes are filmed in Chicago, and he puts it together fantastically. It's what more can you say? And speaking, Matt Reeves said something. I don't know if y'all saw the quote, that he thinks he wouldn't be able to make a good Marvel movie. Mm-hmm. And his quote was, "I just don't know how I would make my way through that." And my interpretation, what I think he's saying, I think he got a lot of creative freedom with this movie. He don't have to worry about plugging it into a universe. Because a lot of those directors in the MCU, they have to worry about what the next one is. Kevin Feige is really particular on what they can do and what they can't do. That's why actors like Edgar Wright left, Ava DuVernay left. They wanted to do their own thing. Yeah. But understandably,
Patty
he
Jenkins.
wants everything. Yeah, Patty Jenkins. He wants everything to be tied in, and the freedom, like you said, Hector. I think Warner Brothers is onto something with individual movies like Joker, and now the Batman as well. They can keep their DCEU if they want, but
look at the animated movies that DC has been putting out for like 15 years.
you're right.
There is a universe run for people that don't know. There's like, how many are in that movie? Like, there's like 10 of them that are like part of the same like universe.
Oh yeah.
From
But
either the Flashpoint Paradox or Justice League War all the way to Apocalypse War. They do like 2 a year.
It's like 10 movies that are all part of one thing. And they were putting out other stuff in between those, and they're still doing that. And like, to me, that's kind of like where they are at with the movies now. It's almost like we tried to force a cinematic universe that is still kind of going, but it's like they didn't like where it was going or whatever their issue. Yeah. So now it's like they need to get that together, but while they're getting that together and restoring,
I got this fantastic thing over here.
They've got other things going where they're like, well, we got our TV shows are still very popular, and we've got and Joker and whatever we want to do. Like, I feel it's like you get different runs of comic books. Like, well, remember when such and such took over Batman and he did this, and then such and such was doing the Flash, and they never met, but they were both really good. So that's kind of what they're doing now with the movies, and like right now, it's cool. Like they got the Super Pets movie coming out in a couple months.
Yeah, that's gonna be.
I hope
they just announced that Keanu Reeves is playing the Batman.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's a separate thing. I'm not expecting Robert Pattinson to show up in that movie. It's a separate DC thing. I think the Teen Titans Go movie was fucking hilarious. I understand people don't like it. I don't know. Adults don't like the show. It's for children. The movie was hilarious. So that's like, I'm like, that doesn't have to be your Teen Titans.
Right.
There's a show. There's comic books are still a thing and being made right now. You can read them. That's just like its own little thing. So I feel like that's where DC is one-upping Marvel, if they are at all. Marvel are so locked into this cinematic universe thing at this point that they can't stop.
Yeah, they can't back out of it and do.
My prediction is Into the Spider-Verse is going to even tie into it at some point. Like, they're going to be like, fuck it, he'll show up in Multiverse of Madness. Like, I feel like they're so locked into it that they'll never stop.
Yeah, it'll be. They have to really blow it up if they want to do. They can never do individual non-related movies. It'll be confusing to the audience. They've been
another Iron Man. You can't do the Iron Man. Somebody else.
It has to be tied in. Yeah. My question is, who's gonna do the better thing with the multiverse? Because you got 2 movies coming up with the Flashpoint and the multiverse in either series. Who's gonna utilize it the best is what I'm asking.
Like, better, worse, doesn't really matter. It's like Marvel already did it. They already did it.
That's technically,
No Way Home happened, and like we couldn't even fathom that like 5 years ago. Like,
I'm so hyped for both. It's hard not to say strange.
I definitely don't think. I don't think. I mean, do we have to talk about from like storyline dialogue perspective? I definitely don't think Flash will be better based off of the fact of their intentions behind it.
Yeah,
this movie wasn't supposed to be. It wasn't supposed to be the movie that it is. Yeah. Honestly, and quite frankly, and so
there's a malicious intent.
There's a reason behind it, and we're not going to get the Flashpoint paradox or just the story that we were supposed to get. So, I don't. For those reasons alone, I don't think it'll be better. I think it'll be entertaining, but I don't think it'll be the better. If I'm being honest here, there's a reason they have So that's pretty much my answer. Why I feel that way about it.
I'm excited for the possibilities of the Flash movie.
Warner Brothers fumbles so often; it's hard not to say strange.
Yeah, I'm still keeping, just because there's a reason, they haven't announced anything after 2022, and you got to believe
that's what I was thinking.
They're whether good or bad, they have a strategy, they have a plan laid out. They're just keeping the public. I mean, they're not. It's all under wraps, and you have to believe that there's a reason why they do have a plan. Whether they're waiting for the merge to happen or they're just waiting for the Flash to play out. There's nothing planned. Like if you think they usually have a lot for the next couple of years after that, but they have been completely quiet about what happens after the Flash.
It's like maybe that plan is Cavill comes back in the Flash. Maybe that plan is Ben Affleck's in it, but he's actually already signed a 5-year deal. But probably not.
Don't do that.
Don't
give me hope.
Don't give me hope.
Henry Cavill might not be in these in these little cameos, but it's Henry Cavill Superman. So at some point he has to come back because it's still him. It's not the actual physically there, but
Shazam, Peacemaker.
That's an interesting way to look at that. That's true because they haven't recasted him. Yeah,
it's like they're ignoring it. It's like they're like, well, we can get away with not acknowledging it. And it's like, all right, it's been 5 years.
Right.
You're gonna have to acknowledge Peacemaker. Okay, he's got shadow on his face. Eventually, you're gonna have to acknowledge why Superman isn't in the shit. Eventually something's going to have to happen where it's like, where's Superman? It's like, oh, he's not here. It's like, he's not here, but Aquaman is?
Yeah.
Fuck this. We're going to have to acknowledge.
Yeah, no, I know we're probably getting, off. I'll talk about the Batman movie, but
that's regular tradition.
I think, again, this movie totally took me by surprise. I was very optimistic. And I was going in. I was just hoping this would, like I said, it would put my attention on this because the other shit is shit right now. So and it did that. I feel my gripes honestly with the film. Not enough to turn me off of it, but I thought there was a few things that I think were done a little lazy in my opinion that they could have done a better. Which where do I want to start? I think the scene when Bruce and Alfred are talking in the hospital and he tells them the truth about his father. I would love to have seen that played out in a scene instead of being told just
expositorily.
Yeah. I think I would love to have seen just how Reeves could have just given that to us instead of through just
show don't tell,
because that's a big deal because he goes. Because Bruce tells him, this is everything. This is the whole reason why I'm doing this. You mean to tell me? And I just, I would love to have seen just seeing that, and so you can be damn, okay, you can feel damn, that sucks,
That's
but
fair, yeah.
Other than that, I was and I thought the ending was a little bit anticlimactic, just a little bit, but other than that, I have nothing bad to say about it.
Yeah,
I thought about it the first time I saw it. I kind of felt that way about the ending. I was kind of I was like, Batman doesn't really do anything. He doesn't really save the day at all. He didn't stop all these fucking riddles. And he didn't stop anything. Watching it again and thinking about it over and over and over and over and over, I'm like, well, that's kind of the point of this. And I love that if they're going to keep going. If they're going to make a sequel as soon as possible of him getting his shit together as Batman, then this is going to age like wine. It's going to be great when you go back and rewatch it. Oh, he's so wrapped up in being the scary vengeance guy that he fucked up the thing. And I'm like, I kind of like that. Because, not everyone died. It was the city flooded. But then, instead of fighting, staying up there and trying to find more people to fight, he went down and saved everybody. It was he realized, fuck this, let's get him out of that. Needs to be the priority. This guy is taking after me, and instead of being a symbol I'm supposed to be, I'm this emo jerk that's trying to clear people in the street. So I'm I feel it's aged better. In a couple of years, we're gonna watch this, be oh man, okay, I get it. The Riddler was one step ahead and really thought Batman was understanding him, but he wasn't. And so now Batman can focus on being a better Batman.
Right.
I started thinking about that more and more and more after seeing it twice. And I was like, I kind of like the ending the more I think about it. But I did think the Alfred scene, I felt the same way. You had one scene where he was with Falcone, and it was all talking, and that scene kind of worked. Then immediately, Alfred woke up, and it was all talking. Like, he was just like, no.
More talking. Yeah.
That story, but different. And it was like, they could have showed, that would have been the time to show the parents' flashback. If ever there was a time, it'd be like, well, we can show the parents get killed.
Yeah, too much dialogue, if that's...
Like, it was still good. I didn't hate it.
Oh, yeah.
But I want to ask y'all, all of y'all, something. I'm gonna be really pissed if the movie doesn't win the Oscar for Best Makeup. I think something stupid is gonna happen, like it doesn't even get nominated.
Probably.
But that'll just be impossible if this movie doesn't get nominated, because you do not see Colin Farrell at all.
No. I only heard him like once or twice.
Not even, yeah.
That first scene where Batman's showing him the pictures of the chick, like there's a crack where I was like, okay, there's Colin Farrell, and then he goes right back into the Cobblepot. Yeah.
But this is the question I wanted to ask y'all.
Every scene he's in.
Every scene.
Yeah. Even with that, what his chances of, because we're gonna bring this up on my show probably. Movies like this movie, I think has a lot of Oscar potential. A lot. But these goofballs need to get their heads out of their butts and like realize, yes, these superhero movies can be great. But people hated that No Way Home didn't get any serious Oscar consideration. I think that should have got a screenplay adapted because it's based on a comic book. I think that should have gotten more than it did, just the technical awards. But anyway, back to this movie. Colin Farrell, I think, should seriously be considered for supporting actor as his character.
Yeah.
Because he played that role. The makeup was just a tool. He took that tool and went to town with it. You know what I mean?
Take it easy, sweetheart.
You could put anybody in a bunch of makeup, but he became that character.
Yeah.
Every time, I think Hector said, like, every time he's on screen, man, you can't, like, and he was giving him the education. It's a little spoiler. He was giving him the education about how to pronounce.
All spoilers.
Oh, well, there we go with spoiler. He was like, "Look," and
a lot of people compared it to Jared Leto in House of Gucci. Like, they said this is what he thought he was doing in House of Gucci.
what Leto thought he was doing.
True.
Yeah,
I'm excited for his spinoff. I guess they're doing on HBO Max. And I was
like, really? Do they need it? And then
is this
here at this point? Like, it's like, all right,
I need it.
Yeah, I didn't. It's supposed to be a prequel, so.
Oh, it's a prequel. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
It's supposed to be a prequel.
Is his appearance going to altered in the
That's
next
what
movie?
I'm curious about.
I'm curious. Is he going to get even more messed up? You know, but I don't know how you guys feel about that ending though. That cameo, kind of torn a little bit. I don't know.
In the jail with the laughing scene.
I don't know. I was a little turned off by it, but
the movie would have been all right without it.
Yeah, I don't think it needed it. And,
but you know what I think? I think studio mandate.
Yeah.
It's one of those things like kind of like I said with Batman and Robin. If so many things didn't exist prior, like if we didn't have a Joker movie and to me everything, like I said, that comes after Heath Ledger's Joker is on his shoulders.
Yeah.
Like to me, Joker with Joaquin Phoenix was like cool. But everybody was like, oh my God, it's so dark and it's so edgy and gritty. I was like, nah, Heath Ledger already did that. Heath Ledger already got outside. He already did it. So like this, it's like if Heath Ledger didn't exist, if the Joaquin Joker didn't exist, there wasn't so much Joker this, Joker that, this scene would have been great. It would have been like, oh my God, that's so cool. But now it's just like another one.
Like,
every Warner Brothers executive has a tattoo that says every Batman needs a Joker.
Yeah, you know, I guarantee you that was a studio mandate.
But it's cool because no other villain would have really made that same impact. Like I saw somebody on Twitter really try to argue that was Harvey Dent. I was like, dude,
his face looks fucked up.
He was like, I'm telling you, his face was messed up. And I was like, dude, the Joker's face is messed up.
The Joker cut off his own face. You don't know which iteration they're going with.
Yeah, like I thought it was cool. Like it was a cool scene, but it wasn't like a like.
Like, oh my god,
That's so much Joker
No,
media.
see, because I knew dude was in the movie, and like Wikipedia had him listed as a cop. So I was like,
Yeah,
where is
officer
he?
something.
He's kind of a name, and I haven't seen him yet. Like I thought he was the valet at the funeral, and then that happens, and it's like, okay, so the rumors were true. He is Pattinson's Joker.
Yeah. I did read a tweet this morning saying that I mean, I don't know how accurate this is, but Matt Reeves did confirm that the Batman has already encountered the Joker in the first 2 years, and that the Joker will have a birth effect on his face that can't stop him from smiling, and he's going to be inspired by the man who laughs.
Yeah, that's the one I read.
And this Joker is also a serial killer, not fully fledged Joker yet. Those were the
That's kind of dope.
words out of the
Well, it could be the
tweet that I
reason why he's
read.
in jail. Batman put him there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
That was the rumor going into this, that none of these villains were like their fully fledged selves yet.
Yeah.
That's another thing. I thought of like another ding. I liked the Riddler. I didn't like lose my mind, love the Riddler, simply because it's like I was never nuts about like the mask. Like they're like, oh, but he's like the Zodiac killer, and I'm like, okay, but like you're doing Batman. Like at some point you do have to cave a little bit. So it's like you want to adapt Batman so much, you have to kind of follow the pattern. It's like Nolan's Joker was different than everything that ever came before, but he still looked like the Joker.
yeah, but
like,
you recognize him.
like,
Yeah,
that is the Joker.
Is he going to come back in the second one? Do you know? Anybody know if Riddler's coming
That's
back?
what I'm wondering.
I mean,
If he
maybe
comes
he'll have a more comic accurate look in the second one.
Yeah, see, that's my thing. Like now that he's been unmasked, like he can come out with a
Right.
fresh green suit
Right,
and
right.
question
yeah,
marks
yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah. The thing is, with all these comic book movies, they all these actors are going to be signed on to a multiple movie contract.
Yes.
So it's the
Yeah.
thing if the studio wants to pull the trigger on it or not. And I would imagine, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
That
in
was my
some
whole
way.
thing. When Paul Dano got cast as the Riddler, I had like the Dylon moment. I was like, oh my god, great casting! Holy shit, that's
Yeah.
amazing! I never even thought of that. And then you saw the picture, and he's like, got a mask on. Movie. So I'm like, if he comes back, again, like I said, if he comes back, he doesn't necessarily need to have like the bowler hat and the cane and all that. But if he comes back as a slightly more, I'm the
Right.
Riddler.
There's a lot of tweaks you can do with it. There's so many
You'll go
different
back and watch
things.
this and be like, oh, this is great. This is so good.
Yeah.
This will have aged better by then. But
Yeah,
I'm
this-
like,
the-
it's so hyper realistic at all times. Like, the Riddler is not the Riddler. He's like Jigsaw serial killer that will attack you and hurt. Everything is so super hyper realistic like that. Like, you're never gonna be able to do Mr. Freeze. Like, I'm sorry. Like, Poison Ivy is never gonna make sense in this world. But if they allow it to kind of blossom over time, then it'll be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
But that's why
I mean,
whatever's next.
yeah, kind of what Nolan did with Bane. Bane never used Venom in his movie,
Yeah.
his verse, his universe. You know.
Right.
It's like, that's real, but he's still Bane. Like, you look at him and like, oh, shit, that's Bane. That's cool.
Mhm.
That's the Scarecrow. He's got a sack on his head. It's like, okay, that's cool. He's using the thing. Like, that's cool. If you showed me this, I'd be like, I don't know who that is. Is that Hush? Is it
It's a hush. Yeah, that's a good point.
the Riddler? Not
But
that
I'll tell
I'm
you
like,
one thing. No, go ahead, Nick. I'm sorry.
But it's like, I'm not somebody that cries. Like, you get on people and you still got people like, that's not my Riddler. I'm like, well, fuck that. It can be, I love the idea of like Zodiac Killer Riddler.
Yeah.
But he could have had a little more fun with it. Like, there were little glimpses where he like laughed and was like, goodbye, and like did the kind of good.
Yeah.
I think the whole thing should have been like that. Like, he should have been like this
Right.
weird.
I think the best version of him is when the bomb was around the guy's neck. How he
Yeah.
was acting in that scene.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
great.
That was really
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like the
Yeah.
dialogue between him and Batman when they're in the prison when he gets caught and then
Yes.
interrogation. That was some pretty good change.
Yes,
between-
he was like in the prison, he was just like a crazy guy.
Yeah.
He was, oh, whatever. Like, oh, fuck. There's something about it. Like, I was just like, see. But like I said, it could blossom into something else eventually, and we'll go back and watch this and be like, oh, well, this works perfectly. But if everything is approached with like, it has to be as down to earth, realistic as possible, then I'm like, you're gonna screw yourself out of like, you'll never be able to do Clayface. Like, you'll never be able to do all these villains that like you want to do. Like Mr. Freeze, you can't do it. Like, I'm sorry, he can't walk around in this. Otherwise, it's just be like Gotham.
He said he can't walk.
Killing my dream.
Yeah, like, you know.
But
those are my only dings. And then like, again, I think Pattinson's Bruce Wayne wasn't like a standout.
No.
But in the sequel, he could be. Like, there's so many things in this where he like came.
Batman definitely has the most screen time. In the movie.
For sure.
Yeah.
There's dialogue like Alfred gives that dialogue about Wayne Enterprises like losing money. So I'm hoping the sequel gives that evolution of he needs to like know how important Bruce Wayne is to being Batman.
Like I said, there's an opportunity to fix that. Not fix it, but like in this one, it's like he's so reclusive.
Yeah, expand upon it.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, it's Bruce Wayne. So it's like in the sequel, he could come out and be like, "Look, all right, I'm here. I'm Bruce Wayne," and like he could have like a supermodel on his arm.
That cop was great.
Glasses on, and was like standing there eating the berries or whatever, and I was like, he looks like kind of a dick. And like Alfred said, he had a meeting or something. Where I was hoping that would be a scene like he walks in a t-shirt and glasses. I was like, oh yeah, he might be kind of a dick, Bruce Wayne. But he didn't do it. Like,
definitely.
Bruce Wayne, he walked around with his hands, and it was like, of course that's Batman. Look at him.
Yeah. That cop that was trying to keep him out of the first crime scene and then like is grinning ear to ear when he sees Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, right.
I love that shit.
Rodriguez, if I'm not mistaken. And he's actually there with him when he finds a bigger clue after he visits. And that was I think that was pretty nice. But let me tell you about my favorite dynamic in the movie. Should be obvious.
Yeah, we already know.
Relationship is Gordon and Batman.
I love that Gordon got so much to do.
Yes.
It's so good. And there's so many little things like you know, you got the people that are pissed now about the whole like these white privileged assholes. It's like, oh, of course, that's what it's about. It's like that's what the whole movie is. Like he didn't know. Like Batman was like trying so hard to be this detective, like trying so hard to make a difference that he was missing these things because he's rich. Like he never had to wear them.
And she says that like, oh, you must have been born rich, and you know it's this little things that you're not seeing.
The second time I saw it, she was like, whoever you are, you're born rich, obviously. And I was like, ooh, that's so good.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't know what the carpeting was.
Yep.
The Hispanic cop knew what the carpeting tool was because his uncle owned a business and did this and did this. Bruce Wayne can't even, he's not even on
That's a great scene. I like that.
He's like, I've never even seen what that, I've never done manual labor in my life.
Right, he's looking.
Look right at him.
Little stuff like that people will miss a little, like, oh, like some people I saw with somebody, they thought he was when the cop said that about the tool, the person I was with thought that Batman was suspicious of him, and I don't think it was that. It was that he didn't know what the hell it was, and the guy was like, oh, then he figured it out, and that's when he went to do what he did and pulled up the carpet.
Like the Riddler.
And I'm glad you caught that, Nick. Yeah.
The Riddler was always tiny.
Hands on, yeah.
He assumed that Batman had already figured out the plan.
Right.
Because
like, oh, I gave you more credit.
Was like, and he was like, what the hell are you talking about? And he immediately ripped up the carpet, and there it is, the plan.
Mm-hmm.
He was too late. So the second time I saw it and then really thought about it, I was like, oh, shit, this movie's actually, I kind of like this ending.
Yeah, and you're seeing a flawed, not polished Batman.
Yeah. Batman can't overlook his own, like, stupid, like, you don't cross the line. It's like, it's not that simple. Like, different level of, and it's like you throw the word around, but it's like you came from a different level of privilege than everyone you're dealing with. These cops are working class cops. All these people that you're dealing with are working class people, and you're just like
Gotham's favorite son.
You're not. You're just not.
And then you're gonna have the knuckleheads out there that's gonna take that line and not understand why it's relevant to the story and turn it into some bullshit that is not.
Oh yeah, man.
They're white privilege. Shut up.
Identity politics, man.
Oh my God! It plays into the story.
Yeah.
It's there. It's not there to tell you. It just like, oh my god, the movie is trying to be too woke. It's a plot point to the story.
Yeah.
Like every Batman movie, cartoon, comic book run, like everything that's worth a shit has always dealt with that. Like the corruption from the city, corrupt cops.
The classism,
classism and everything.
Yeah, I mean it's
classism, economics, socialism, whatever you want to. Like,
What
oh my
is the
god,
Dark
people
Knight
just can't get their head out of their ass.
It's Gotham City, man. Everybody's doing dirt.
Right.
What is the Dark Knight Rises if not that? Like nobody had an issue. That's the entire movie. Yeah, that one's like
for sure.
So large and leaves so little for the rest of us. Like that's what it is.
This and I'm gonna bring something up halfway. Sorry, Nick. I'm gonna bring something up halfway for people who can't seem to do research. So I'm gonna just put this out there. Y'all know what it's about. Billy D. Williams played Harvey Dent.
Landau.
George Wallace was the mayor in Batman Forever. And thanks for that reminder. Eartha Kitt played Catwoman back in the day. Halle Berry played Catwoman, her version of the movie.
Halle Berry.
How about this, people? How about Jeffrey Wright? How about Zoe Kravitz was just cast because they were the best actors that the director wanted for the role? How about that?
And they killed it.
Is that a possibility, people?
And they killed it.
And they killed it.
How about just keep it at that? Because that's truly probably what it is.
She got like 5 minutes of screen time, but Jamie Lawson was dope too.
Yes, thank you.
Very important to the story.
Yeah.
It's like, and that
the
was
irony,
kind of,
y'all trying to say something that's too woke, but y'all looking and fishing because your real intentions, you want an excuse to put those out into the open.
Yeah.
And
that's the point of the story.
It's like it shows
the mayor, what he's doing in the city is not working. It shows you in the first foot. Her name is Riel, and her thing is a Riel change. It's cute. It's the story. It's like we got this new young mayor who's going to come in and do something differently because she can see it through a completely different lens that all these cops are not seeing it through. And like Batman comes to the realization that he also needs to get on that level. Like he's looking at it. It's a really good movie.
That's something else cool for the sequel too. Because she had kind of an anti-Batman stance, right? And she won the election. So the sequel with them bumping heads could be really interesting.
Yeah. That's what's so good about The Dark Knight is like Harvey Dent is like, are you fucking kidding me with this? Like all the cops are that's cool. And he's like, are you shitting me? Like this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
But
I like that.
No, that scene in the police station when I think Batman.
I was just about to say that, man.
Yes.
You could have pulled that punch. I did.
Oh my god, that was so. You're right, Sigma, man. That was such a dude, and his facial expressions when they're far away, like talking far away, was just so well done. I'm like, man, this is gonna be good.
Who's this with the nose? This motherfucker's dirty.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Some people are saying it has no humor.
No, it's definitely humor. Yeah.
It's got humor. The thumb drive got a laugh both times I saw it.
Yeah, thumb drive.
You could have pulled that punch and all that stuff. Like, all the little jokes. Colin Farrell got mad laughs.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not, like, constant quips because that doesn't work. Like, it doesn't.
Yeah, that's not this movie.
That's just not Batman, except for Schumacher.
Hey, Randy, man, I hate to do this, but I got to get going, brother. I appreciate you having me on here, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. Do what you got to do. We're going to run like 15 more minutes.
Okay, man. I appreciate you guys.
All right. Heck to see you around, buddy.
Yeah, peace, man. You know I'll tag you and everything when it's done.
Yeah, man. For sure. Appreciate you, brother.
Peace, man.
But yeah, that's so yeah, 4.5 stars by Nick. That's
like I genuinely feel like no movie's perfect. Like this is probably like a 4.899999. But like Hector was saying, like there's nothing just glaringly bad enough that I'm gonna dock my 5. I loved it.
And like I said, most of my issues could be fixed. Like not even fixed. It's just like the whole Bruce Wayne thing might be intentional right now.
I hope so.
He goes to the funeral and he's like, "Oh hey, look, I'm." That might be intentional because like he's just
him as a recluse. Yeah, recluse.
He might change that in the next one.
Bruce Wayne's in like 4 scenes of a 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
That's why I put Christian Bale for Eric's question. Like,
Yeah, I just posted
we're
that.
watching these ones like, who's the best Bruce Wayne? I think Christian Bale is just like, he does exactly what I think of Bruce Wayne should do. Like, he is a businessman. He's like a dick. He's rich, just a celebrity scumbag, like nice guy, but like a dick.
And he's putting on the show his
Yeah.
the people.
Bruce
Would
Wayne
not
is the mask.
expect him to be Batman.
Yeah.
You would not go up to him and you're like, this fucking guy doesn't have a clue about crime. He's not bothered by any of this.
And he even
it's like, it's Mr. Wayne, right? Like they don't. Aren't even thinking.
What's the scene in the Dark
Master
Knight
Wayne.
when the scene in the Dark Knight when he's actually trying to save the guy? He runs into the truck. You're like, that's real.
That's what I was just
he
thinking
ran
of.
into
It.
the pickup. You're like, what? Trying to make the light?
Who's in it?
Yeah, like it's so good.
And then they share that look, like, yeah, you motherfucker,
Yeah. When they look,
But,
him and old boy.
Mr. Reese, you son of a bitch.
That's why I kind of go like, you could kind of make things for like his Batman. Like some people don't like his voice or whatever. Blah blah blah. And then it's like George Clooney is like a little too good at being Bruce Wayne and like not good at Batman at all. Whereas Michael Keaton is kind of like great at all of it. Like he's not the best Batman, he's not the best Bruce Wayne, but he is really, really good at doing all of it. So it's like he's my favorite.
Wayne Nespa most of the time.
Robert Pattinson.
I love that line most of the time.
But like Pattinson is like an outstanding Batman. For as long as he's Batman, he's in like every scene.
Yeah.
Really, really, really good as Batman. If his Bruce Wayne could get on the level, he could be the best. Like he has the potential. Like in the future, when we talk about who's your Batman.
So what? Anybody get the final numbers wouldn't be out. It's tracking for 125 million, right?
128.5.
128.5. So as we speak, hell, probably the first sneak preview night they started having talks because by the time we get the movie, months and months have passed, but I'm curious what they're talking about. I'm curious what Matt Reeves, because he has an outline at the least.
Needs to be one.
I feel like of everything to praise in this movie, Matt Reeves is gonna get the least applause.
Yeah, he's not a name.
He should be after these last two Apes movies and this.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, and it's such an easy name to remember.
It's like Keanu.
Right, Matt Reeves. After this, he should definitely, his name should be
185, $200 million budget worldwide. It's almost 250.
Yeah, it's gonna be. What comes out next week?
Streaming movies.
Yeah, anything that's gonna mess with its theatrical.
The Atom Project and Turning Red. Nothing huge in the theater. Like it'll repeat number one easily.
Definitely, it's gonna. So sequels definitely got to be in the works. I don't know if the merger would.
But see, like I wanted to ask with Hector here. Who do y'all want to be the villain? Like I don't like the Joker tease was cool, but I don't want Joker.
I don't think they should go with him that early.
No,
like,
he should
have another scene in a sequel.
Yeah, that seems like a safety net at this point.
Yeah, kind of like Peter Parker's parents in the Amazing Spider-Man movies. Like give us another thing, and then go about your story. Yeah. Like something could happen, the Joker could be there, be like oh, you're here.
Take. If you don't want to bump Colin Farrell and make it like a gangster movie with Batman in it, do something. I don't know. Do something. I think you could do the Mr. Freeze story, but you got to do something with this world, and it could just be like a dramatic. He's trying to save his wife, but he turns to crime to facilitate. Or do something like Mad Hatter. Just give us new villains.
Because you think about, I see where niggas coming from with the Mr. Freeze and all that. But you think about Batman Begins, and you think about the comic book and even cartoon origins of Ra's al Ghul, you wouldn't think that would have been able to be done.
That's true.
You know?
A little bit.
there's a little tweaks.
like this movie felt more comic booky to me than the Dark Knight, almost like the whole Dark Knight trilogy, really.
Yeah.
Especially the last two. Like as soon as this started, he was like October 31st.
Yeah, I love the narration.
Yeah, it's really noirish with the narration.
Like,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
And like the whole thing with him and Catwoman, like on the roof, like that's Bogart and Bacall, like that's straight up noir. Like just don't do anything without me here.
Yeah.
I understand you, honey. And then they kiss, and it's a whole thing. I'm like, dude, this kicks ass.
She was
But
amazing.
It's great. I can't wait to definitely see it again.
Zoe was so good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to let it stretch just a little, because like everything doesn't need to be so super down to earth so much that it's like
Right.
can't have fun with it. Like,
And
the
it's
Riddler-
funny, the villains that I have in mind, they definitely won't do because they'll be too similar to Riddler precision-wise. Like, you're talking about stuff that realistically can happen, but the villains I had in mind, I don't think will work because they'll, like, Calendar Man or...
I was gonna say Calendar Man, but I thought he might be too obscure.
yeah, and who's the clock,
Clock
the
King.
time guy?
Clock
Yeah.
King. Did I see?
And they have the same, like, precision is very important for them as villains. So I don't know if they want to rehash or not rehash, but it'll be...
Did I jokingly
Yeah.
say in the group chat Edward Norton was the Clock King?
Yeah, you did. That's
but,
what
like,
was in my mind.
knowing Warner Brothers, they're gonna put like how long until we get Zaz again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really love Zaz so much. Talk about obscure. He's in everything.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Gotham,
The
Batwoman.
Gotham, yeah.
Oh, Gotham. It's something else. I feel like I'm forgetting something else.
He was in
But,
Batwoman.
yeah, like so he'll be in this. Maybe that was him. Maybe it wasn't Joker. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know. That's a good question, though. They could do.
No,
Who's the doctor?
they laughed. Hugo Strange would be really dope.
Yeah.
Hugo Strange would be
could.
really dope.
As long as they don't do what they did with Gotham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No offense to Gotham, but it got kind of silly.
Yeah.
Nah,
You
man,
have
like
to let it stretch a little. Like you can't do. Mr. Freeze's storyline is a very human, realistic thing. I love Mr. Freeze on the animated series,
Yeah.
specifically.
Mhm.
But you have to kind of make it. He can't just go around with an ice gun. Like what the hell is that?
Yeah,
Like,
that's in a big ass suit.
the Riddler. It's like if the Riddler is too silly, then you can't do Mr. Freeze. Like what at some point you do have to kind of stretch the arms a little bit. Like
Yeah.
you can't just pick realistic villains because otherwise you just got maybe Two-Face, and that's like it.
Yeah. I think with those
It's not
villains, like with Rise, and like you said, there's a lot of these villains are just a tweak or two away from just
Yeah, like you got
putting
the
in.
same things. Like Ra's al Ghul didn't have the Lazarus Pit,
Yeah. The resurrections and stuff like that.
Like you would have to get rid of all like Poison Ivy. She's just super into plants.
Yeah.
No, she manipulates them. It's like no, she doesn't. She's just really into them. It's like well, then that's not possible. You're bending it a little too much.
Yeah.
That was my
I
only
mean, the
complaint.
villain, or my boy, who was going to be an Affleck Batman, Deathstroke. I don't know if they don't want to use him because.
that'd be great.
Hey, what's up, Nick?
Yeah. That's another one. It's like they love Deathstroke so much. They just want to put Deathstroke in everything.
Yeah, he hasn't been in the movie yet. Well, technically
he really
he has.
hasn't been in the movie, but at the same time, I'm like, am I losing my mind over him being a main villain? I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe I don't know. But I need them.
there's a lot to go through. I'm curious. I know he has something in mind, Matt Reeves. That is, I'm curious to what.
I need them to hurry up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Not that
But
I'm
like you said, the way the industry works now, it'll be at the very earliest. I think it'll be at the earliest 2024.
Yeah, we need a sequel announcement by April.
Yeah, it'll be here. That's
what
the
I'm saying.
earliest. But
I'm not
realistically, 2025.
I'm not one of those that's like, oh, I crave content. Like I need it now. Where's
Yeah.
the next?
I'll let a little time go by if it's going to be a quality product.
Yeah.
I need them to fast track it. I need them to know what they're gonna do. Make
Yeah.
a plan. Don't just stick around like, well, we'll see. We'll see what happens with Aquaman.
And that's just the thing about where the hell is like Warner Brothers as a company when it's coming to making these decisions with, I don't know how the Discovery thing plays
They don't
into it,
know.
and like who's what. Like
That's
you know how movies sequel greenlit 2 days after the other one. I
Yeah.
need that. Give me a green
Give the green light.
light announcement.
Like John Legend.
Yeah. Yeah. But,
Yeah.
But no, I'd
hopefully
say a great movie, excellent movie. I don't think I've even given. Yeah, what is you? Yeah, 5-star rating, Randy, like you were saying, right? 4.5 for 4.5, 4.5, same thing for Mr. Nick. Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. I saw my niece and I was like, something I always talk about is like, you know, we're all a little too spoiled with comic book movies now. Like I was talking earlier, like we really forget about the time when you would only get a handful of comic book movies, especially back in like the 90s, early 2000s.
Oh,
really,
man.
a couple. You didn't even care if they were good. You were just like, Jesus.
Just happy, yeah, the property is on the screen, right?
The Phantom? I'm there.
Yeah,
And I
like,
was.
yeah. Steel?
Yeah.
Nah, not
Oh my God, no.
Spawn, like Spawn, like who gave a shit? Like if it was good or bad, like who even cares? It was like it was there. I said we're so, you know, I said somebody is gonna see this and be like, well, that wasn't fun. Like that wasn't as good as Black Widow. And I'm like, it was actually way better than like most of the comic book movies that I've seen recently. But we're just so inundated with it now that it's like it's hard to put it on the same level as if this had come out and like
Right.
instead of ones, it would have been like it would have been perplexing. It would have been holy shit. No, this can't be real.
Yo.
This can't exist.
At the end, he says in the narration, it's like November 6th. This movie took place in like 10 days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like a
a lot
week.
happened, yeah. Every day he was up to some.
A week if it starts on Halloween.
Yeah, because I was thinking this either takes place over the course of like 10 days or a year and a week and a half.
Yeah, definitely 10 days.
But yeah, they never covered Christmas or summer, so yeah.
Right.
He got no sleep.
Yeah.
Sleep at all. He was working all of those nights.
Right. The only time he got sleep, it seemed, was when he got knocked unconscious. It was about a handful of times.
Yeah.
Also, something that I thought was really funny, and like nobody is talking about it. There's 2 cops in this movie that have really, really high pitched voices.
Yes. What's going on
Nobody's
here?
talking Yeah, the first commissioner comes in, he's like, oh, he's a vigilante. He's a goddamn vigilante. Get him out of here.
Yeah.
Was that the
Other
commissioner?
He's like the sergeant or whatever. And like when he wakes up, he's like, you're really gonna protect this asshole, Jim? Fine. Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
The out of breath, high pitched type. What are you? I thought about that when you.
Yeah, you're gonna protect this asshole.
Oh, that's funny. Oh man.
Yeah.
But yeah, fantastic movie. I'm glad
yeah,
it
for
turned
sure.
out the way it did.
You listening, you watching, drop a comment, let us know what you thought of the Batman. Even if you didn't like it, let us know. The idea for 2 weeks from now is the Pixar one-offs, like to go along with Turning Red. Like we'll save Toy Story, Cars, Incredibles for when Lightyear comes out. But Up, Brave, A Bug's Life, Inside Out, we're gonna talk about those in 2 weeks. I'll come back around, finish up the episode. It's Rec League. Yo, I abuse words with a few verbs. I'm balling on you nerds like I'm Sue Bird, Saint like Franklin, and I'm all about my business. You just getting started by the time that I done finished. What y'all sleep on about me? My creativity is endless. You got your vision, but I'm trying to go beyond like I'm Terry McGinnis. Y'all know how the game go. Destiny's Child, now say my name, ho. Come correct or I show no mercy like I'm Captain Insano. If you cross me your minds, I might make your kid orphans. I know my currency good and I'm not from New Orleans. Painting pictures with my words. Verbal Jacob Lawrence. You soft, man. I hope your inner circle tell you that shit off, Dan. I be spitting this Tony Clifton and you thinking that you are Andy, but you can't even cough, man. Head in the clouds. I'm just a man on the moon. Kiss my asshole. I'm a payaso, a rapping buffoon. When it comes to this rapping, I'm well aware that I'm that shit. If you know you got a talent, man, don't fucking hide that shit. And chill until the next episode.